So this video is going to be about how I met my inner daughter. Um, my hair looks like it's greased back right now, like a Guido, but I just got out of the shower and this is just how I comb my hair when it's wet, so that when it dries, it's easy to tuck behind my ears and it just train that way. So I'm not aiming for the Guido look. It's just out the shower look. So, not that there's anything wrong with the Guido look, you know? Hey, oh, forget about it. I got the Goomba hair over here. But, what am I talking about? Anyway, so, this has nothing to do with my inner daughter. My inner daughter actually wouldn't like the way that my hair looks right now, but um, let's proceed and see where we end up. I'm going to try to make this video less than a half an hour, and I have a lot of stuff to say, and try to bang it out. Bang it out. All right, so when I first started looking into myself, when I first started working on self-knowledge, self-awareness, getting back to the person that I was born as before I was wounded to the point where I became somebody else. When I was towards the beginning, when I was working on myself, I had a dream, and I didn't have a dream like Martin Luther King had a dream. I had a dream like when I was sleeping, had a dream. So the dream started. I was walking a couple of blocks away from where I grew up, where my mother's apartment is, the place that I lived for the first 20 years of my life. Yeah, I think I lived there for the first 20 years of my life. And I was walking with my mother. We were coming back from a dinner date, a dinner party. And this is a whole nother issue in itself. I want to make another video about being an only child to a single mother, but I'll get to that in the future. There's no time for that now. So I was walking back from a dinner date with my mother, and she was dressed up, and I was dressed up, and we had come back from eating dinner together. And she said something about my daughter to me in the dream. She said, "Yeah, I wasn't really clear on what she was talking about because I was kind of ignoring her in the dream. Like I wasn't purposefully ignoring her, but I was just walking with her, and like kind of what she was saying was going in one ear and out the other, and I was kind of lost in my own thoughts. And when she said your daughter, it like clicked, something clicked, and it caught my attention in the dream, and I looked at her and I said, my daughter? What are you talking about? I don't have a daughter. And just so that viewers know, I don't have any children in real life. So my mother said, "Yeah, you didn't know that you have a daughter?" And I said, "No. How would I have known this? Well, I don't remember anything about having a daughter." And she said, "Yeah, yeah, you have a daughter." And I said, "Where is she? What happened? What?" Like I was panicked. I felt flooded with um, overwhelming panic. Like, oh my God, I have a daughter out there. I need to go do something about this now. Um, and she said, "Yeah, she's been with your father. She's been with your father for years." And just to, I guess, I don't know, maybe this is relevant, but I grew up without a father. My father, before I was born, between the time that my mother and my father had sex and my mother became pregnant, he had between that time and the time I was born, my father had moved from here on the East Coast to as far as he could possibly get away, 3,000 miles away to the West Coast. So I grew up without a father, and I had maybe seen him a total of 60 to 90 days in my entire life. I'm 31 now. In my entire life, I might have seen him for like 2 or 3 months total accumulated. And um, so I was like, my father? What? Oh my God! I have to go do something about this. And I said, "What's his phone number?" Because I don't know my father's phone number. I never knew it by heart or anything like that. I might have called him a couple times in my life. Um, and my mom said, I don't know what your father's number is." And she honestly, in real life, she honestly doesn't probably know what my father's number is off the top of her head either. But I just knew that she had a phone book in her apartment that had my father's number. So I ran top speed those 2 blocks to my apartment and dug, rushed in, opened the door, went straight to the drawer where I knew the phone book was, opened it, got my father's phone number, and called him. And I wanted to find out what was going on. Where was my daughter? Well, how did he end up with my daughter? And I while the phone was ringing, I looked at the clock and I realized, I thought to myself, oh, because there's a 3 hour time difference, I thought maybe it might be too early to call him, um, or it just might not be a good time. Like the 3 hour time difference might match up for it to be a bad time to call. Because I remember that being an issue. Like if I ever thought about calling my father, it was like I always had to remember that he's 3 hours behind me. So, but when I looked at the clock, I then looked outside, and from looking at the way that the sun was outside, um, I just knew that it was the perfect time to call. Like now would be the best time to call someone in California. I don't know what time it was, but I just knew that now would be the best time to call someone in California. So I called, and when he picked up the phone, and my I woke up. My dream ended. But when I woke up, I felt that pressing, like I was panicking in my bed. I was like, "Well, my daughter, where, how do I get her? What happened? What happened to her?" Like, I almost felt like I had a daughter in real life that I needed to retrieve. Like I needed to go find out how to get back to her, or how to get in touch with her. And I think it was a couple of months, maybe 2 months passed or a month passed, and I had another dream. And I mean, I had continued working on my self therapy, sort of self knowledge process. I was doing some real therapy during that time, and I went, but it kind of it was in my mind, this dream, and I was thinking it over, over the course of that month or 2 months. And the second dream that I had, um, it was like a continuation of this dream that I had about a month or 2 months later. And I um, I had arrived in California, and it was almost like something out of Fresh Prince of Bel Air intro. I was like in a cab, and I pulled up to my father's house in sunny California, and my father is a pretty wealthy dude. I mean, I know what house he lived in last. I don't know if he still lives in that house. I know what house he owned last time that I saw him. This was maybe 15 or 16 years ago that I saw him or his house. But I pulled up to that house in the taxi and jumped out of the car and rushed in a sort of desperation, in a sort of panicky desperation, like nothing's going to get between me and finding my daughter. Um, Kicked down the door, didn't even bother knocking. I remember fearing that my father would be there in the house and that I would have to knock him out. Um, but I was ready to do that. Like if my father was trying to get in between me and my daughter, I would straight up like body slam him, just knock him flat out. But I opened the door and I realized that nobody was there, and I began to search for my daughter. I was like looking in the rooms, looking in the kitchen, looking in the living room, and then I felt this sense that she's probably in the back of the house in the bathroom. There was two bathrooms in the house. There was like a luxury master bathroom at my father's house, and I ran through his bedroom, went to that bathroom, and didn't see her there. But I kept walking in, and I noticed that like in the corner behind the sink, where a place where a garbage would normally go, like you would imagine like a wastebasket or a garbage would normally be put. My daughter was laying there wrapped up, like a baby would be wrapped up, I guess, sort of in blankets and stuff like that. And I felt a real sense of relief. I felt, oh my God, I found her. I found you. I found you, you precious thing. Who, what kind of person puts a baby girl on the floor of a bathroom? You know, this is no place for a little girl to be. And I picked her up, and I pushed back the blanket, and I saw her face, and I noticed that she was angry with me. She was upset, and I said, well, the thing was, she couldn't speak. She was an infant. There was no way that this inner part of me, this part of me, could speak language, speak English language, and but I could. I've noticed that with my part work, if I have a part that can't speak, I could still communicate with it. I don't want to say telepathically because it's not like it's not really telepathy. It's just I know my parts. I have access to my brain. So this this makes it possible for me to completely understand a part of me that is unable to speak. And what she was communicating to me was, I can't. You left me. She was mad because I had left her. I had left her and abandoned her. And I remember not. I remember I felt the impulse to give excuses and to say, you know, I didn't know. I didn't know, and all this stuff that parents typically give to their children, like, oh, I was doing the best that I could. I didn't know. You know, it wasn't my fault. Like I was trying to get off the hook from her anger. Well, I wasn't trying to, but the thought occurred to me, like that's what I wanted to do. Um, but I pushed that to the side, and I just wanted to empathize with her, and I just wanted to have compassion for her, and I didn't want to block her feelings of anger or push them off or minimize them or anything like that. So I listened and I said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I left you here. I'm so sorry that I didn't take care of my responsibilities and didn't nurture you the way that you deserve to be nurtured. And I told her that I'm really sorry. I apologize, and I don't want to ever let that happen again. I won't let it happen again. Nothing will ever get between me and her. I'm here now. Um, like, Daddy's here, and I'm not going anywhere anymore. I'm not going to leave you. And it was genuine. It was genuine, and she so quickly forgave me, so quickly let me off the hook, and understood that it wasn't something that I really ever wanted to do. I didn't. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't. something like she knew that I understood that she didn't deserve that, and that she deserves a lot better. And she smiled, and I could sense this sort of forgiveness coming from her, coming from my daughter. And she would, if she could speak, she would say, it's okay. Thank you for making this commitment to me now, and thank you for coming to rescue me. Thank you for coming and saving me. And the dream ended there with me. I know that I turned to go bring her back to New York, back to the East Coast where I was living at the time. And I was so relieved to have found her. And so that was where the dream ended. Now, I didn't have any more dreams about her, but I worked with this part in therapy. I worked I worked with my therapist on connecting more with this part and trying to understand it more and give it what it needs and what it wants. And I remember I sort of said to my therapist, I had this dream and I have this daughter part, and I want to, feels like a really powerful part. It feels like a really important part, and I want to have a better relationship with this part. So I worked with it, and I worked with it also on my own, on my free time, just sort of laying in bed and thinking about her and having like a dialogue with her, and or interactions with her. And the more that I got to know my daughter, the more that she got to know me, I noticed that she was growing, that she was growing from an infant to a toddler to a whatever the next step would be, a little girl. And the last time that me and my therapist worked with her, we were asking her what she needs. What does she want? And she said that she wanted her own room. She wanted her own room. And we asked her what she would like in this room. And she said that she wanted flower wallpaper, and she wanted lots of arts and crafts supplies and things that she could work on creatively. And she wanted Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. She wanted him there. I remember watching Mr. Rogers when I was a little kid, and as an adult, I started to study Mr. Rogers, um, and what he was doing on his show, what he was bringing forward for children, giving them a sense of self-esteem and self-acceptance, and encouraging their curiosity and their um, compassion for themselves and other people. And, of course, me and my therapist had no problem giving her Mr. Rogers, and we put Mr. Rogers in there. By the way, I watched this amazing footage of Fred Rogers, who is Mr. Rogers. He actually worked as I think he might have been a therapist. I know he worked with children in a sort of therapeutic way in his personal life before he got his show. And I watched him in court in front of Congress requesting funds for PBS, which is Public Broadcasting System or something like that. It's basically like the publicly funded, government funded television show. television station. And he, oh man, if you ever get a chance to watch this, look, go on YouTube and find Fred Rogers Congress. And it will, if it doesn't make you cry, it will melt a part of your heart. It's just the way that he approaches the Congress about it and really shows his concern and his love for children and his want for the world to be healthy. Um, you watch the beginning of the video and you look at the congressman that he's talking to, and you're thinking, this guy, there's no way that this hard ass congressman is going to give him a penny. But he touched something in this hard, tough ass congressman that the guy couldn't deny. Like he couldn't. I think the congressman said he doesn't remember the last time he felt goosebumps like this after hearing Fred Rogers tell his story or tell his speech. And he said, I think it was $20 million or something like that he got awarded to PBS to work on shows and to help children. So fucking Fred Rogers, the man, the man. So yeah, she wanted Fred Rogers in there. Good call, inner daughter. I can't think of anybody else to have in there that would be better suited than Fred Rogers. So a couple other things I noticed about my inner daughter was that she was bright and strong and assertive and sassy and witty and clever, and she wasn't like oh, this little daughter, she's so cute. It was more like she's badass. Like not like mean, but she was just a person. Like she was like bam. She's this part of me is just very persony. She had a great personality. She has a great personality. And I look up to her. I'm like, she's a cool person. She's a cool kid. She's somebody that I would like to be more like. And I think I've learned about myself through her, or I've learned a lot from her, from interacting with her. And so yeah, when the last I met my daughter, she was maybe, or I had a connection with this part of me. She was like 10 or 9 or 10, and she was just hanging out in the bedroom. And actually, sorry, the last time I had interaction with her, she was saying she's ready to leave the room. She's ready to go out into the world and turn the world into her room. And I said, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I want you to go out into the world. I want you to make this world yours. I mean, go out there and get everything that you want from this world. Oh, sorry, I feel sadness coming up because she didn't have that for so long. And, I was all for it. It was like, the world is, I don't even know if the world is ready for you, but you go and take from the world or give to the world or whatever it is you want to do with this world, you go do that. And maybe that's part of one of the reasons why I'm making videos now, why I'm able to make videos now, is because this part of me is sort of wanting to go out into the world and connect with people and do things in the world and be a person. And so I encourage that. I said, look, anytime you want to go out into the world, you go out. You don't need my permission. I trust you. You're wise. You are powerful. You go out into the world whenever you want to go out into the world, and I'm not going to keep you in this room. Fred Rogers sure as heck ain't going to keep you in there. And, oh man, Fred Rogers. Poor Fred Rogers hanging out in a bedroom without being able to leave for so long. It's like kidnapping Fred Rogers and being like, oh, you have to take care of my daughter now. Luckily, it's just my imagination. So if Fred Rogers, I'm not sure if Fred Rogers is alive. I hope he's alive. He's alive in the hearts of many, many people if he's not physically alive anymore. But, damn, I got to stop praising Fred Rogers. Anyway, yeah, it was great to meet this daughter. It was great to work with her and watch her develop as a person. I think one of the reasons why my unconscious has developed this part of me, or why this part of me exists, I mean, I think a lot of things about this part, but I think it's something that was kept from me growing up. This assertiveness, this sassiness, this ability to be strong and powerful and curious and just a person, um, was kept from me throughout my childhood by my parents and by teachers and adults in general. I have another idea for a video called "Never Become an Adult," and that doesn't mean do like Michael Jackson and play with kids for the rest of your life, but just I remember sort of. I don't want to spoil it too much. I have lots to say about that, so I'll do that in another video. Anyway, I wanted to make this video because I think it might be useful. Some people might be able to relate to it. People might be able to take something from it. And I think the reason why I needed to meet my daughter and find my daughter is because I needed to nurture the nurturing aspect of myself, or feed or develop, there we go, develop the nurturing aspect of myself. And I can't conceive of anything better to do that, and any other better way to develop my nurturing aspects than to work with a little a baby, and kind of raise a baby. And I'd rather do this in my own mind than to practice with a real child, because um, there's gonna be a lot of mistakes. There's gonna be a lot of mistakes that take place when you're just learning how to develop the nurturing aspects of yourself, I think. And there was times where I didn't connect with her as much as maybe she would have liked to, even after I met her. And I would never want to subject a child to neglect and stuff like that. It's different when it's my inner world. There are lots of things that I could excuse myself for doing in my inner world that I couldn't really excuse myself for doing in the external world. But I think that maybe I think another thought that I have about it is that not having a father there, I've thought about this, like, why was my daughter with my father? And I thought, not having a father for some reason really hindered my ability to be nurtured in the way that I needed. And I'm not really sure why it's a girl. I'm not sure why this inner child, it's not me as a child. I've worked with me as a child before, my inner Stephen, my inner child Stephen. It's separate from that. I think it's just an aspect of myself that maybe is more, I would attribute to more feminine, sort of nurturing things, like things that would come from a mother. So I'm not sure. It's interesting that my child, I mean, I'm running up on 30 minutes now. I wanted to make it about 30 minutes, the video about 30 minutes. So I guess one last thing that I had considered about connecting with this daughter is that, this inner daughter, is that I needed to empathize with a female. I needed to connect more with my female side, if that's even a side, if that's even possible. I hopefully that there won't be any feminists that come along and kick my butt for talking about me having a female side, or a feminine side. But I think to empathize with women in general, to empathize with the female, I needed to work with this inner daughter. And I think that was really useful, because now I could look at women, or just girls in general, as a person, whereas before it was a little bit more difficult. And this is another video idea I have about my relationship with my mother, and how that manifested in my attitude towards women and females in general. But hopefully I'll get to that. I'm giving you guys all these teasers about video ideas that I have. Hopefully I can get to them in the near future. But we're wrapping up on 30 minutes. Boom, I got 4 seconds left. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any thoughts or ideas about what this dream could mean, or any feedback at all, if you want to talk about how my hair looks like it's greased back and it looks strange, that's fine too. So I hope you enjoyed it and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.